this month's featured speakers, Dr. Glenda, Barron, President of Temple College, and Paul Woodfin, Vice President of Financial Services of Texas State Technical College. I don't want to say that they're guests just for today. They've been with us for a while now, so welcome, please.
Okay, I think I'm the first one up. This is the Paul and Glenda show, and we haven't practiced it. We've done this back and forth, sending parts of the PowerPoint presentation, and so bear with us if we run a little astray. We'll pull it back in. We are really pleased to have this opportunity to be here today to do the first of these presentations and to provide you some, what I hope is useful information related to the branch campus maintenance tax election. In that election, Dr. Killian talked about the 5 cents of a part of a branch campus maintenance tax. And what I'd like to do today is to talk to you about what that means and what you would get for that 5 cents if this election comes with a positive result in May, which is what we're hoping will happen. Okay, straight down, will that get me? Oh, no, wrong way. There we go. Okay, by state law, a branch campus maintenance tax is capped at 5 cents. That is state law, the way it is organized for community colleges. And what a branch campus maintenance tax does is collect tax dollars to use for the operation and maintenance of a branch campus. And any money that's collected from that tax has to be used at that particular branch campus. So for this particular election, the 5 cents would be collected from the taxpayers of the Hutto Independent School District. That 5 cents would then be used specifically at the teaching location, the branch campus that is in Hutto. That money can't go to Temple, it can't go to Taylor, it can't go anywhere but specifically for that, and that is state law. The election, as Dr. Killian said, was required by state law that it be approved by the school district board. You can have a county-wide branch campus maintenance tax, or you can do it by school district. This is a school district version. In order to get to the point that we are now, where an election has actually been called, we had to get approval twice through the Higher Ed Coordinating Board, and many of you were a part of that process as we were going through those steps. The first step was, of course, the Temple College Board of Trustees had to approve it. And the second step, because this is a unique partnership that we are planning to bring to your community, and that partnership is with the Texas State Technical College system, and specifically Texas State Technical College-Waco. Why on earth would Hutto want to support through a branch campus maintenance tax? Well, I thought I'd start by telling you what difference it makes to students who attend a campus. Temple College's in-district rate starting this fall is $88 a semester credit out. And that applies to students who live within the taxing district in Temple and would apply to students who live within a branch campus maintenance tax area. So if Hutto approves that tax on May 14th, students from Hutto, or residents in the Hutto ISD, it wouldn't just be high school students, would pay $88 a semester credit out. What that translates to, that if you took what is considered a full load, 12 hours, now back when I went to school, 12 hours wouldn't come close. It was 18, but that's been a while. In the new version, full-time would come to just over $1,000, $1,056. If you are not in the taxing district or in the branch campus maintenance tax district, the tuition rate is $154 a semester credit out. So if you took 12 hours, you are paying $1,848 for that full load. That right there makes a world of difference. And the reason I have ACC up here is because ACC is very close to Hutto. We share a line with our service areas. ACC's out of district. The ACC Board of Trustees has had a plan in place that they want all of their service area to be in their taxing district. And they have had a number of elections and been very successful with that. And that plan has worked very well for ACC. Their in-district tax rate for citizens in the district is 10 cents per 100. And that's a very good tax rate if you join the taxing district. If you are not in the taxing district, out of district at ACC is $179 an hour. So if a Hutto student goes into Round Rock this fall, that's what we understand their charges will be. Currently it's $168 and they've raised it by 11. So if you were going to ACC taking that same load, it would be $2,148. And that's a good choice for some students who want a particular program. And I'm not trying to compare what the programs are. This is just 12 hours of whatever. That would be an estimated cost. You may have questions about that. Okay, what the branch campus maintenance tax, if approved, would support is a 115,000 square foot facility. And we're calling it phase 1. Because we think if this happens, we're going to see a great deal of growth. And we actually anticipate in 5 years or more that there will be more than one building on the site. It is located in a wonderful place, Highway 130 and 79. We are so grateful to the Avery family, and I believe I saw, I'm glad you're here today. Oh, is your brother here?
Brother.
Oh, the other brother. Okay. We are very grateful to them for stepping forward with land at that location. It's going to just be superb for a higher ed institution to be located at that place. And that phase 1 construction is a partnership between Temple College and Texas State Technical College-Waco. And let me tell you, this doesn't happen anywhere else in the state. There are 50 community college districts, and there are 4 main campuses of TSTC. And nowhere is there a partnership between a community college and a technical college. What happens normally is the community college offers the academic side of the house and some of the workforce technical programs, the career and technology programs that are either certificates, 1 year in length, or 2 years in length, or a 2-year Associate of Applied Science degree. And those colleges invite TSTC to come in to bring specialized programs. TSTC has a statewide mission, whereas our community college districts have a local mission. And if in your local area you need services, programs that a community college cannot put on, we wouldn't necessarily have the faculty expertise, the right kind of equipment, that sort of thing, then colleges invite TSTC in to start those programs, and sometimes to continue them, sometimes the college takes them over. What we are planning is something totally different. We're talking about TC offering the traditional transfer program for our students who are going to go to a baccalaureate program at a 4-year institution. We're talking about the Associate of Applied Science in certain areas that TC offers. But the marriage between the 2 institutions, and it really is a marriage, between the 2 institutions is that we're going to have the advantage here in Hutto of the expertise in those career and technical programs that TSTC has. And those are programs, Paul's going to talk about that, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but those are programs that a community college like TC cannot afford to bring to Hutto. And so our partnership is really unique, and we think this is going to be a model, not only for other community colleges and parts of TSTC in this state, but in other states as well. It really gives you your best bang for the bucks because you're going to get a different sort of arrangement of possibilities. We are hopeful that we'll be able to start in August, completed in fall of 12, and you know how construction goes. We've got our fingers crossed that all that would work. We'd move in spring of 13, and We would have classes in that new building no later than summer of 13. Here's what TC would bring, and I've kind of gone over it. Core curriculum courses, you know, the old general education that most of us, that was what it was called. Texas has a prescribed core curriculum of 42 to 48 hours. It is guaranteed by state law to transfer to any other public university. So those of you who have high school students who are in dual credit, very likely if they're working with TC in dual credit, they are taking core curriculum courses. Your English, your history, your math, your science, the government classes. We offer, in that general education area, the Associate of Arts degree. And that is 60 to 66 hours of academic coursework that a student takes and then walks over to a four-year institution to complete a bachelor's degree. We do offer some career and technical education. Compared to what TSTC is going to have on the table, it is very limited, but it's in the areas that TC does very well, and those programs would come. We also have, you've met Gracie Connor and Tyler Smith, who are part of our workforce business and continuing education unit. We will have those kinds of offerings available through this new center, so that if business industry needs training, it can be customized, and we will be working with TSTC's division that matches ours, so that together we will be able to offer even more opportunities than either of us can do alone. And then TSTC's two-year degree programs have a 15-hour general education academic course requirement as a part of those two-year degrees. And we will be, at TC, will offer those support services. And unfortunately, some of the students who come to TSTC and who come to TC are not yet ready for college. When they test, their scores are not sufficient, and usually it's in math. And TC will offer the developmental courses that are getting those students to that college-ready level so that they can be successful in the credit courses. And so that will be a part of our offerings as well. Paul, I think it's your turn. And we will answer questions when we get through with the presentation and see how this goes. That side goes forward. After I backed up.
Okay. Well, first, let me apologize. Dr. Stuckley, our president, had intended to be here, but his 91-year-old uncle died earlier this week, and he is pallbearer at the funeral this morning. So, unfortunately, you get the finance and facilities side. Anyway, as Dr. Barron said, TSTC is the only statewide technical college system. Our mission, what we do, is do technical training, degrees, and certificates for anyone and everyone across the state. And we do have actually 8 locations, 4 main campuses. While we've actually jokingly said, but actually somewhat seriously, the Waco campus is really our largest campus, but we wouldn't be surprised if Hutto became the largest campus down the road, because we think the opportunities are very good here with the population and with the demand occupations that Hutto and the surrounding areas have. We actually do right now offer 4 dual credit programs at Hutto High School: automotive, Cisco, IT Academy, culinary arts, and welding. And I think we have, Fred, a couple hundred students enrolled in those programs right now. So your kids are taking classes from us and earning some good job skills. Actually, I'm going to skip forward one here. The programs that we will be offering here, and I noticed this morning when I was looking at the handout. The first one is actually electronics-related programs. We'll probably start with our telecommunications program, but we will be offering those here. Our engineering-related programs, which we have a broad array of those. At Waco, we have 50-something programs, and a good bit of them are engineering-related and service-related programs, such as culinary arts and others will also be living here. So very much a wide variety of programs. One of the strengths of TSTC is our high-demand technical program focus. So what we do and what we will training will provide for your community will be things that basically our graduates, between 90 and 95%, depending on the major, go out and get a very good paying job in the field of study. And that is unbeatable. We actually have some students that graduated from one of our engineering programs that frankly are going out into the workforce earning more than our faculty members earn currently, starting out $60,000 a year plus. So those opportunities are out there. The other part which Dr. Barron alluded to is the economic development piece. And I want to tell you a little story. From my office window at the Waco campus, I get to look out and see L3 Communications operation in Waco. L3 Communications is an aviation-related business. They employ about 1,500 people on our campus with an average salary of around $60,000 a year. L3 would not be in Waco without TSTC because the vast majority of their workforce are graduates. And we provide that level of training for them. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but a big part of their operations are in Waco because of what we have. And we want to be able to add that sort of training and capacity and opportunity to businesses and industries who are here now and maybe looking to come here. So I want to make sure you all do that. And we do provide affordable educational opportunities. Our tuition rate in the fall is going to be $146, but that is significantly less than many of the other proprietary organizations that teach courses like ours, and also it's less than ACC charges out of the district. So anyway, keep that in mind. Anyway, we're hopeful, we're anxious. Dr. Stuckley and Dr. Barron have joked a lot about the marriage that hasn't actually hooked up yet, but we're very hopeful and that with y'all's support, we'll be able to make this work and be teaching classes to your kids here very soon.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions that we have for Dr. Barron or Paul? We can follow up later. Our next speaker, taking Hutto higher. I noticed the little logo down at the bottom. That's pretty nice. Michael Ray.
How's everybody doing? Good. My name is Mike Ray, and I sell toilet paper. No, really, I do. I'm being serious. I have a couple jobs. Let me see, where are we at? I have a couple jobs in my company. Our company's name is Gulf Coast Paper Company. We're a business supplier. We sell all kinds of stuff, air filters to toilet paper to office supplies, just all kinds of stuff. The college was something that was very important to my company and myself when it came on the slot. There are really three reasons why I like to support the idea of what's happening. And one is personal. You know, my kids, my son, he's a junior this year, and he's already starting to take dual credits. And I can't tell you financially what that does for me. The second thing is personally. Dr. Barron talked about students who weren't ready for college, and I was one of those. I escaped high school, barely. If I could figure out how to forge the documents, I would have done it because it would have been easier. And so I escaped out, Actually, I didn't go to college until I was 26. And one of the smart things I did in the Marines was get the GI Bill. And so I used the community college where I lived at the time in Loveland, Colorado to start the foundation of my education. At that time, I was working for my company. I was making $8 an hour. And 15 years later, working in the industry and education, obviously being a foundation and being obviously aggressive and all those things you have to do to grow and be assertive, had a big impact to what I do now as branch manager. And then when we look at what happens to our community, Gulf Coast has no greater endeavor than to see local business thrive. Because guess what? That's how we survive. So if there's an opportunity for any way for our company to support growth in the community, we're on board 100%. And I have to tell you, we are an extremely conservative company. I think this is the first time we've actually, because when you say for, that means that there's probably somebody that might say against. And as a company, we don't do that. We don't take that risk. But we really believe that bringing the college to Hutto is that important. So we talk about, love the logo. Don't you guys love the logo? I like the logo. So we talked about what the PAC does. We really want to enable career advancement. We want to meet employer workforce and promote professional development. That's really what the PAC does. And if you want to be a part of the PAC, we definitely have room. And always looking for support. And I'm going to try to speed this up just so we can kind of do the Q&A stuff. So we already went through this, so I won't talk about it, but there are a lot of pre-steps that took place. And actually, the first time I got invited to this little endeavor, I thought somebody sent me the wrong email and I deleted it. Because see, I assumed that the college was a done deal. And it wasn't until after that meeting I realized that this tax really is kind of the hinging point to that. And so I really kind of just embraced it at that point. But there were a lot of pre-steps that's already been covered. So we talk about the branch maintenance tax. And just a couple things to be clear, because there's been a couple different questions about it, and it's already been covered. I want to say it again. These funds cannot be allocated K-12. Okay, so understand that Hutto ISD had a duty to get us this far, but as Dr. Killian said, they can't be for nor against the thing. So, you know, we want to make sure that there is a distinction between the two entities. These funds cannot be used for any city infrastructure. And the funds can only be used for the operation and maintenance of our higher education center in Hutto. So a little pretty rendering, wouldn't that be nice? Renderings are very, very nice. This is where the campus is. How many of you guys own a business? Raise your hand, please. How many guys buy toilet paper? Shameless plug, my business is right there. We're on 79. Take a left at the light. Last one on the left. I'm just saying. So we want affordable access to higher education, comprehensive programs, on-site students. And I'm not 100% sure if it's in here, but it's really cool when you can see that the high schools have that support of just the general community. I know that my business, and I hope yours does, already works with Hutto ISD. I mean, we use their Dr. Killian, I forget what it's called. We used to call it work study when I was a kid. I forget what it's called now, but we actually take students into our warehouse and we teach them basic skills of how to show up on time. That's a tough one. And, you know, they sure do seem to have a whole lot of homework when you try to have them come in on a Friday. But the on-site support, enhanced economic development. And again, when we talk about the 5 cents maintenance tax, obviously $50. The average home is $135,000, which means that it's about $67.74 per valuation. And we're like to say that that's less than a soda a week. It's really not that expensive when you consider it. Senior disabled citizens, there's no increase for that tax. Another beautiful rendition. So we're looking at a $66 savings per semester hour. Another beautiful rendition. I like the renditions. So some of the benefits: education, economic development, long-term growth, stable long-term tax rate. The college campus, it's, I'm new to these slides, so forgive me. We talk about the college campus, how it's unique, and how many businesses in here could stand to afford a little higher daytime traffic? I know I could. We talk about the quality of life, you know, when we talk about the tax burdens and the economy and the community. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. But there's one thing that I kind of ask the question, in my business, I always tell people, my business will, let's say the Chamber of Commerce, which we're very active members in, I'll give the Chamber $1 million if I can get a return. Would you guys agree with that statement? The object of investment doesn't become the question in business. The question is, what's the return on the investment? Anybody in here have a calculator? Somebody tell me what, where's the number? I'm looking for the number. Yes, that's new. I think it's gone. 31, I think it disappeared. $3,100 is what the saving is for 1 year. Okay? So we're talking about the average tax being, finding it again, $67. Can somebody tell me what $1,300 is divided by 67? I'm sorry, I said that backwards if I did that. But the number is like 42 something. And kind of how I looked at it, do I have, or I guess do you have a significant other, yourself, a child, somebody that would utilize the college for a year in the next 42 years? Because at that point, that's your break even. And in business, that's the first target, isn't it? Let's break even. So when I look at the investment and the ROI of what the college can do to me personally, it's a big deal. But really, it's important for our company at Gulf Coast to make sure that there is growth that goes on. We actually have been in business since 1965. We were on 6th Street for 40 years. We sold our building to Lance Armstrong and moved out here to Hutto. And this was the sticks for us, right? And it's been completely different for our operations. We don't intend on going anywhere anytime soon. We don't like moving. Moving is horrible for our business. We hate it. So we plan on being here a long time. So anything that deals with long-term economic increases for us is something that we want to get behind as a company, and I hope that you guys can too. So I don't know who's next. I know that we wanted to have some Q&A sessions. I don't know if you guys want to come up or somebody wants to come up so I can turn it over. All right, Dr. Barron, there you go.
I'm used to having lots of questions. Okay, what have we not covered that we need to cover? As I told you, you're sort of the trial group for the run-through. Dr. Killian, come on up. There's questions maybe. Come stand by us so that you can be on the hot seat too. Yes.
I'm Kara Finelli with Wells Fargo Bank. I just had a question on the 5-cent branch maintenance tax that we're looking to pass right now. I see one building on the schematic, but then I see the plan for 15 buildings. Does that mean more taxes for us, Hutto ISD?
This is the cap. Now, what could happen is at some point you may choose to seek to join the taxing district in Temple, which is a possibility. The Temple citizens are paying 21 cents per 100 for the Temple campus. And that money is kept in Temple. That's why we can't use any of those tax dollars in Hutto, Taylor, or Cameron, any of our operations. But what you are being asked to support now is, by state law, capped at 5 cents. It can't go beyond that.
So
regardless of how many buildings it's supporting, it would still be 5 cents per 100.
So we could actually get to the whole campus with 15 buildings?
It is certainly possible. It depends on enrollment and the growth of the tax base. Because as we talked about with economic development, we believe that the presence of TSTC and Temple College in a higher ed institution that's going to provide those services will attract more of this.
They'll sell more toilet paper. And we're taxed more for that.
But it would not go beyond that 5 cents unless the citizens wanted to go through that petition process, hold another election to join the taxing district. And the real advantage of being a part of the taxing district is that you have representation on the Board of Trustees that sets the policy and the direction of the college. And that is very valuable, and that may be something a few years out or many years out you may want to consider. But right now we're talking only a branch campus maintenance tax, which is under a separate section of the education code and the way it's authorized.
And let me add, the opportunities once we get this campus established for state and federal grants and other opportunities will be there, which TSTC is a state agency college like Texas A&M and University of Texas. And so we will have access to those sorts of funding opportunities depending on what the project is.
One thing too to remember too about the certified values, you know, if this ends up developing more businesses and rooftops in the area, that increases the total certified values that the 5 cents is taxing. So that generates more revenue. So, and that would provide more money to do
and that's what would support the operation and maintenance of that expanded campus. That's really what our thinking is, that over a period of time the tax base will grow.
And on the school district side, I'll make this point too. Our interest and sinking rate, which are our bonds, how we pay for our buildings, basically our mortgage payment. The more businesses we get in the community, the lower we have to tax in order to make our bond payments. So we prefer businesses over rooftops because rooftops come with kids and kids come with costs because we have to hire more teachers. So we're not really interested in that right now. We're really interested in the businesses because that'll end up lowering the tax bill in the long haul.
Okay, I have one question here and then I'll go to you.
Doctor, what's the alternative?
If this effort is not successful, was the question, what's the alternative? We will continue to operate our campus in Taylor. We intend to do that. Unfortunately, that location has no space for TSTC. So East Williamson County loses the advantage of having those programs that can make a real difference available. They will continue to operate, I believe, at Hutto High School and at Taylor High School with the very limited offerings that they can due to space. You can't do, you know, auto body, the engineering programs, all of those kinds of things. When you get to RV maintenance, you've got to have specialized facilities. We just don't have any space to do that. And unfortunately, the students who come to TC from Hutto will be paying that much higher rate. I'm not going to try to go back in the slide, but it is a real cost to parents and students. And Hutto is a very rich community in terms of families with kids who are going to be college age at some point or want to come through the dual credit program. And it will make a real difference in one semester what a student pays. And I've lost those numbers exactly, but it's about $1,000 difference for a full load. Yes, you had a question.
Could you give a few of the line items that are included under maintenance? To me, it does not mean construction.
It is not construction. It is, once the building is built, it's the operation and maintenance, it's utilities, it's cleaning, it's keeping the grounds, paying those personnel that are involved in that, paying those costs if they're contracted. So it's the actual operation and maintenance of the campus.
But it does also include lease payments.
Oh, yes, it does include lease payments. But, you know, for the use of the building from the owner. And, but the operation and maintenance money cannot be used for construction. Nor can it be used to pay the faculty salaries.
So
Yeah.
the maintenance tag you're saying for mow and stuff, that's jobs in the community. A lot of the stuff.
A lot of that would be positions from, in fact, I guess all of it would be positions from the local community.
Good point. And also, I was thinking the other day, I was thinking about all these towns and small communities that have colleges or community colleges. Would it be so much better during hard times like this when you have something like this in the community to help keep the community going?
I can tell you that from, you know, Temple's 65,000 people, so it's not a small community. But our enrollment has increased significantly, both in Temple, Cameron, and Taylor, where we have our teaching centers. during this time where when the economy goes down, enrollment tends to go up. And it's because people are coming to us, not necessarily that they're unemployed, but they're doing it for prevention. They're getting that extra computer class or an accounting class or something that's going to make them more valuable where they work. Business and industry are coming to us for more of that workforce continuing education training because they want the people that they have to be even more efficient and effective. And so they're coming to us saying, can you come to our location and provide this kind of training, a new computer software or something? So what I think you will see is that even in hard times, there is a lot of growth and support that comes from having a campus located in a community. That's what we're seeing right now. Hopefully we will be seeing the economy improve, but we will continue to be serving students because we're a good market. We've got students enrolled with us who would have gone to a four-year institution, and because of the way the state works, they are guaranteed that that core curriculum will transfer to any public university. They go to A&M, UT, UNT, Tech, U of H, wherever they want to go, and those courses transfer. And that's worth a lot to families who have students who may not be ready to go away and live on their own yet. They may need another year at home. And so that's one of the other advantages as well. We have a question. Yes?
This is for Dr. Coote. I have a friend who was working in the newspaper. And so could you talk to the $125,000 that the school district is getting and how that ties in with Evansville, Georgia, at all?
Okay, I'll go all around that question if you like. The $125,000 was a pledge last year anyway. We've already pledged that money, and the new agreement is just extending that over 25 years. I got to sit at the table when we were looking at financing, and we just couldn't build the building without that pledge in the first place. We just can't build enough space. So we already plan on paying that money. Would that $125,000 save Veterans Hill? Not even close. So we're at a point now where we're talking millions of dollars, not hundreds of thousands. So the other piece that you probably don't know is that, well, you wouldn't know because we've been talking to these folks on the side about leasing Veterans Hill to Temple and TSTC. If the branch maintenance tax passes, our plan is to recoup some money for the facility by renting it out, leasing it out to them so they can use the classes and start immediately. And one of the advantages to both of the colleges is that they would build their enrollment up before we even open the facility. So when we open that facility, you're talking about having good good revenue coming in from students already used to going to TC and TSTC. So, and for us, it's actually going to recoup some of the lost money and be able to help us pay for that $125,000 that we need to pay. So, yeah.
Does that $125,000 come out of our general revenue?
Yes, it does, actually.
College-Waco?
Well, yes, it does, but that's the same thing. I mean, it's all the same pot of money now. We have to spend money on college readiness anyway, so we're also looking at trying to get our legacy program, our agreements over there more efficient so that we don't end up losing money over the $125,000. We think the issue right now for us is that the legislature has put us in a pickle. They're trying to make these cuts now, but they're not telling us the full issue with the cuts. So we're shooting blind right now, trying to make sure we reach targets that we're not sure where they're actually going to end up being. And we don't have a lot of time to do that because our budget cycle started in January. Well, the legislature just started meeting in January. That's pretty difficult for us to make plans for budget, and they're not even going to be done potentially with special sessions all the way into August. Our fiscal year starts September 1. So we're worrying about that piece, trying to make our cuts, hoping that we'll be in a good position at the end of this summer. At the same time, we're trying to make sure we're positioned for meeting all the college ready and career ready standards that they're setting out there. And we have a legacy program right now that doesn't have a permanent home. It's in portables right now outside of the facility over in Taylor. Does that mean legacy is going to be located over in Hutto? Well, I'll tell you, from my perspective, I hope so. So, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen if this branch maintenance tax passes. But there's no point bringing it over here and putting it in portables because we don't have a campus. You must operate the legacy program on or near a college campus. We don't have one here. So unless this happens, legacy will still go over there. And we're 2/3 of that enrollment. Now they can't comment on that because they're in a partnership with us, but we would love to host the legacy program and find money to do that. So because we think it's a big benefit. We're going to end up graduating about 29 kids with an associate's degree and a college degree at the same time.
At no cost. Legacy, we cannot charge tuition and fees to those students. We have to waive that. So if you have a child at Legacy, they are going to accumulate 60 to 66 hours of college credit, be ready to start their junior year in college, and it hasn't cost you, your school district, a penny for those college credit hours.
And I would like to make that program bigger and impact more kids because, I mean, that's really where the rubber meets the road. We're trying to get kids college ready and career ready, and to have a community college in our backyard, I mean, that's the way to go. So.
Any other questions?
Graduation is going to be May 13th, 7 p.m.
Yes, Temple College is holding its first graduation in East Williamson County because our legacy students who are seniors in high school who are getting the associate degree. And Dr. Killian has agreed to host us on Friday night, May 13th at 7 o'clock at the Performing Arts Center at the high school. And we have opened it to any student from East Williamson County who is graduating from TC if they would prefer to come to this ceremony compared to going to Temple, well actually to Belton because we do our ceremony at Barron Baylor on their campus on Saturday morning. So please plan to join us that night and celebrate the first graduating class of Legacy and then other of your neighbors who are getting their degrees as well. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
If I could add one thing.
Sure.
The college is obviously, in TSTC, 90+% of our faculty are full-time. And so, and we go year-round, within a couple of years that we will have 20 to 25 college professors in your ranks. That's just TSTC.
We will do.
So this will have quite a large number of employees.
Yeah, because we're going to have student services personnel, people to do advising, do the record keeping, all those kinds of things. We'll have to have a librarian, all the kinds of things that it takes to operate a college. We will be doing that, only it's going to be a unique partnership between the two institutions. They will be joint employees, basically, for the most part. TSTC will have some, we will have some, then we will have shared employees. But it will, I'd forgotten about the impact that just that group of people who will work full-time will have on the community, too.
One other thing about the 125. Yeah, it's on the negative side of that. Yeah, it's kind of hard to sit there and say, we're going to go and spend $125,000 in hard financial times when we're cutting staff members and all that. But we're already cut. I mean, we've already eliminated the jobs we needed to do to get down to the Senate plan. So right now we're just suffering with whatever the House ends up doing to us. But I would rather invest the money in an early college high school on the district's behalf for the future, because I've still got to, even though I'm worried about today and the fiscal issues today, I'm also worried about the future in terms of whether or not there'll be more business development. And I can get I can use the development from the branch maintenance tax. Hopefully more businesses show up from that, and then on the INS side, I get to reduce the tax rate. And I'll tell you, right now we're at 49.5 cents. We're capped at 50 cents on the debt service side. So I have no ability to build any more elementary schools, middle schools, whatever. And right now we don't need one, we have an extra one. But our projections are to grow by 5 or 6% in the next 2 years, regardless, and that's without an economic recovery. So we're going to need to open that school up in 2 years. Well, at that point, we're going to have to build another school. And 2 years from now, I don't see, without a lot more economic development, the ability to go out and get another bond, well, we've already got a bond passed, to build the buildings that were allocated in those things, because we can't tax above that 50 cent rate. So the only way that we get any relief to be able to build more buildings to house the kids is going to be if the certified tax values go up, which means that we get more businesses, more houses, more whatever. So I'm banking on this in terms of my plans. If it passes, well, it's going to develop more businesses, and then we're going to be in a better fiscal shape down the road. So yeah, I'm worried about spending it now, but I'm more worried about not spending it and then ending up where we're at 2 years down the road or 5 years down the road. So.
Thank you, Doug. Any other questions?
I just have a comment. We're having a community forum on May 3rd at Star Ranch for more information and questions.
Okay, thank you.
I advanced a slide as well. We'll be doing a, help me out, my team. It's the, we're going to do a block walk this next Saturday. So if you'd like to help with that, let us know. And then we're going to take a break for Easter, and then we're going to do it again that next Saturday. And it's from 10 to noon. And I forget the early voting dates. They're on the second. Thank you. And that's it. So I just want to make sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
And thank y'all all for bearing with us while we did our experiment today. We'll sharpen it a little bit before you see it again. Thank you.
Temple College. Thank you, everyone. I'll leave you with this thought also as we're all discussing this, like Dr. Killian was talking about. Think about it as an investment for your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. What we're doing, what's happening today with the information that you get. I was telling Scott yesterday on the radio station, I had heard last week, it was a consultant for business, economic business and so forth was calling in because they were asking questions. They said, what are the two most important things that you see as far as development? They had Austin as one of the top cities that they're going after. They look at age, creativity, you know, from early on college on to 35, 40 years old. That's what they look for. Second is they look for colleges. What college, I mean, what do you have there in your town? And that's what's happening here. The problems that we have right now in the state are statewide. It's not just Hutto ISD, it's ISD everywhere. So that's just an entity. But how many places have the opportunity to put some schools here, other towns to recover economically wise, because that's what will happen. So I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you so much.
All right.
Scott, anything?